This call is now being recorded.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to all. Myself is Shrikant Kuvalekar. I am from NICR.
Great to have you for the session, sir.
Thank you. So we have to. How many people we are expecting to log in?
Sir, right now about 20 students and staff members have logged in, sir.
Yeah,
So another 2 minutes because this class is
yeah.
going on till 11 o'clock. So we can
Yes.
start at exactly 11 o'clock, sir.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
So this NICR, it is the subsidiary of,
NCDX,
yes, sir.
NCDX Institute of Commodity Research. So it is a
Yes,
subsidiary. It is a subsidiary of NCDEX, India's largest agricultural futures exchange, almost a monopoly exchange.
yes, sir.
Yeah, and the exchange is thriving now. They are launching various products for farmers. It is focused on farmers' well-being,
Yes,
market
sir.
making, yeah. And lot of things are happening in agriculture as a sector. After these recent reforms, we
Yes,
have
sir.
seen in during the pandemic also, agriculture
Yes,
was the only sector which has shown a positive growth
yes,
when
sir.
all other sectors were faltering. So it holds a lot of potential, and with reforms, the agriculture sector is poised for a huge growth and a lot of opportunities. A lot of things will come, and for that we have to be ready to take on, because but we have seen the from education angle, purely from education angle, there are hardly any institutions who know these markets, the modern marketing system, which we are going
Yes,
to see explosion in modern marketing system in coming days.
yes,
We are
sir.
not prepared. I mean, education institutions are not very few, and the quality knowledge is also not available with many of. Everybody is learning, more into learning process.
Yes,
So
sir.
that way NICR has an edge, because we are there for last 15, 20 years into this area. Lot of research, lot of education, lot of field experience, and lot of backed up by a lot of data on actual futures markets, option markets, like derivatives products. So we are in NICR has to play a big role. Obviously, all the education institutions also will have to gear up, and they will have to start commodity module as early as possible, because this is the future. There are
Yes, sir.
enormous careers, enormous careers. Only sky is the limit if you learn agriculture and agricultural marketing, right from the field agriculture,
Yes,
from
sir.
farm pre-harvest to post-harvest. Post-harvest, there are huge opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will just test some, because I have just joined and I'm very new. I'm not too sure. Let me check some technology. I mean, I have PowerPoint presentation I will have, whether it is
Yes, sir.
working. Yeah.
So share option is there. We can use the share option, sir.
There is only present now option.
Yes, sir.
but that is disabled for me.
So we'll just enable it. So here
Okay.
there are means he's adding those participants. So just in 5 minutes we'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Enabling,
So
sir.
we will start in another 3-4 minutes.
Yes, sure, sir, sure.
Okay.
So this training institution is offering any specific professional programs, sir, or it's part of investor awareness activities and all, sir?
No. Investor awareness activities is just one, but we have a lot of educational and lot of research reports are available on our, of course, our websites, and we offer specific consultancies also, and our domain
Yes.
knowledge through webinars or customized programs for corporates, educational institutions as per their requirement.
Yes, sir.
So, as I said, no, that we are very soon we will be launching fundamentals and technical courses also very soon. So, because
Yes.
commodity market or any market, financial markets are viewed from angles of technicals and fundamentals.
Yes,
So,
sir.
there will be a one composite course also. There will be separate technical sessions or technical courses. There will be fundamental courses, which will be 3 months, 6 month kind of courses. So those very soon we will be launching.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are on that. We are very close to launch. So you will, of course, we will
Certification kind
inform
of
you
programs.
also.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. So very soon you will come to. We will inform everyone, all education institutions.
Yes, sir.
And awareness is something which is a never ending, because, as I said, awareness is not only from farmers, every sector of agriculture or economy, the commodity market. Knowing commodity market is very important. Whether it is a bank, whether it is a company like fast moving consumer goods sector like ITCs and Britannias of the world,
Yes, sir.
or oil companies, or maize companies. As Karnataka is concerned, there are a lot of. It is one of the top producers of maize,
Yes, sir.
and maize-based industry is a big thing in Karnataka. Rice is also there, and
Yes, sir.
pulses, not to miss India's pulses hub. What is that? Gulbarga.
Gulbarga, sir. Kalburgi it is
Yes.
called as now, sir.
Yeah. So Gulbarga is in Asia's tour hub.
Yes, sir. Tur dal is famous over
Yes.
here, sir.
Yes. So tour and other pulses also, urad, moong, and that trading also happens there. Moong, urad, tur, and chana.
Yes,
So
sir.
Karnataka is present in at least 3 of these 4 prominent players.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pulse trading and pulse futures, sir.
Yes. So this market is, I mean, more you know, you will find it is interesting. What you really need is a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit
Yes, sir.
passion and a conviction that yes, this is going to be a future.
Yes, sir. So this NCDX more of agricultural focus, isn't it, sir?
Yes, it is more of agriculture. Of course, there are plans to trade in steel and other metals also, but basically it is agriculture.
Yes. Yes, sir. So I think NCDX and even this MCX, I think both are prominent in commodity trade since we opened up in early 2000s, sir.
Yeah. MCX is another exchange which is into gold and silver and all other metals, crude oil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. More so it is metal and other industrial commodities, we would say, sir.
Yes. So your education institution does have, this is which MBA?
Yeah, we are right now. This session will be attended by MBA students, along with it MCOM, BCom, BC, and BBS, both UG and PG.
Okay.
And we have got a small introductory part on the commodity derivatives. It is not so detailed as you mentioned, sir. So it will only give the overview, means what is the commodity market, and even the introduction to NCDX and MCX.
Yes. No, we will not
But
be
that-
able to, of course, we will mention, but we will not be able to, generic information we will give about the sector, but we will not be able to talk specific on MCX.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just excuse me, I will be.
Yes, sir. Network नहीं कैसा? त्यांना ऑप्शन आहे ना?
ते पहिला सगळ्यांना बंद करणे.
हां. त्यांना दिलाय ना राईट तो स्क्रीन शेअर. Yes, sir.
Prasad sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. So,
Good
sir,
morning,
some
sir.
students are trying to enter the meet, but they are not able to join it.
So now they can. Here that server got reset. So we have done it. So now, so they can join. So now.
Okay, sir.
It is
Okay,
on.
sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Shrikant sir, screen sharing option has been shared, sir.
Yeah.
So you can share the screen, sir.
It is on your entire screen of a window. Through window will be right?
Yes, sir. You can open the PPT, sir.
Yeah. Can you see this? No, not yet.
Right now we are not able. Only we can view your login profile, sir.
Can you see?
Yes, sir. It has come, sir. Yes, sir. This PPT screen is visible, sir.
Okay, you can read it. Is it? It is coming as a small window. Or I have to make it bigger.
It is in the small window, sir. So possible you can just close those upper and left-hand side tabs, so it will be visible completely, sir. Even you can make the slideshows. Now it is visible, sir, very clearly, sir.
It is visible, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you just tell me when should we start?
So we can start, sir, because almost 40 odd students have come in and few are in the waiting room, which will be adding subsequently.
Okay.
So we can start the session, sir.
Okay, so let's start. Yeah. Okay, so welcome all the students of Bharat Education Trust Global Business School. I myself, Shrikant Kuvalekar, from NCDX Institute of Commodities Research, NICR. So this is just a brief introduction. Of course, I have given it on just pre-session chat, but let me formally tell you, this is a subsidiary of National Commodity and Derivatives Exchange, NCDEX, India's top agricultural futures or agricultural derivatives exchange. So this subsidiary NICR is focused more on investor awareness and education training to all the people connected with commodities, agriculture, from corporates to universities to from education institutions to even broking community, all entire value chain in the commodities. So this is dedicated for education and investor awareness. So before start of the session, I would like to tell you that we can take questions in last 10-15 minutes. You can put it in the chat box, or you can ask one by one later after completion of this session. You can note down in between also if there is something you can request if you want to know something more. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
start with this. So what is commodity market? Actually speaking, commodity market, there is no specific small definition for this. So when we get up early in the morning, when we start brushing our teeth, and later we will start tea, then you can have breakfast, and from tea itself you start connecting yourself to the commodities. So what I meant to say, that commodities is the integral part of your life 24/7. At any given point of time, you are consuming some other commodity, which is tangible or it may be intangible, but you are connected to some commodity. So that way, this is the commodity is something which we are connected, but we are not aware about its formally what kind of sector it is. From sectoral representation is not in our mind. So what is the commodity? When we talk these days, we have last 10-15 years, the commodities market, commodity derivatives, commodity futures, all these words have brought awareness through media or through business functions, and write up, digital media. So you are hearing these words, but many of the people still are not aware what actually it means. Just I told you that we are connected with commodities market, and we start right from the we start our day with commodities, consuming commodities. So there are lot of commodities. Now, if you change your mindset to look at everything or every activity of yours from the commodity angle, and how we are connected and what impact it must be making on overall commodity market. So if you are buying sugar, or if you are buying tea, or later on you are buying something else, you are buying pulses for home. So you are buying half kg, quarter kg, 1 kg. You just go to your next door bania and get it. But you know its impact. This similar activities happening across the country, across the globe, 24/7. So cumulatively, you can make out how much market is created for this, or how much activity is going on. Lakhs of crores of rupees are spent every minute on these commodities. So this commodities keeps moving across the world. So it creates a big market. And this is the market which is lying around us, but we don't know it is an organized market around us. And we are part of it, and we are impacting, we are driving this market. We are the people who are creating demand for it. We are the people, some of us are adding supplies to it, like farmers. But we are not aware that how it moves and what are the opportunities for us, right? Beyond consumption, what else we can do. As a student, you can see educational part of it. As a businessman, how I can trade into it. So everybody has lot to do in this commodities market. So this is a way that we need to learn about commodity market, because it is a big market. There is no specific data that how big it is, but it could be few lakh crores a day. Few lakh crores a day. That is the market lying around us. Okay, so the market is largely divided into retail and wholesale. For example, your sugar or tea, what you know, or your pulses or wheat or atta. This market, you go to Bania, so you just consume it in 1 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg, not beyond that. So that is a retail market. When we are talking about commodity market, we are not concerned about that market as of now, though that is a driver. But we are talking about the wholesale markets. So wholesale markets are those which are also lying around you. Your Bania buys his commodities from one place which is called APMC Mandi. So that is a wholesale market. But so for all commodities, there are wholesale markets or producers. For if it is non-agriculture commodity, producers, we can say where producers deal with dealers. That is the wholesale market. So we will not go into that. But what we need to study is the wholesale market. That much I can tell. And that is the whole commodity market on which there is a derivative market, futures and options, and their export happens when the data that comes or everything happens into wholesale. So we are looking at that market now. So this is what the commodity market is, which is lying around you. Now we will go into, we will classify this commodities. So first, broadly we have classified as hard commodities and soft commodities. So you must be knowing crude oil, that is in news for last 10-15 years, and everybody now understand what is the impact of crude or what the crude oil means. So energy, within hard commodities we are talking about energy, which is crude oil and natural gas. These are the basic big energy commodities or energy sector, energy complex. Within energy, you will find many commodities like crude oil, natural gas are the basic, but from crude oil and natural gas, there are a lot of derivatives coming out. When crude oil is cracked or natural gas is cracked, you get tens of or hundreds of petrochemical commodities like PVC, you know, in your normal life, or plastic that is coming out of crude oil and natural gas. So these are again individual commodities, but the basic commodities is crude oil and natural gas. Then there is the electricity that is also coming out of some of its raw material comes from crude oil and natural gas also for electricity also, apart from hydropower. But this way, that is called crude oil and natural gas is the energy. Then there is the precious, there is the metals. Within metals, we have classified as the precious metals, base metals, and ferrous metals. So what is precious metals? Everybody knows, and particularly Indians, they are fond of gold. And so we know gold and silver. And then there is a platinum also, and there are many rhodium, there are many precious metals. But basic again is gold and silver. So I don't need to tell what is gold and silver, but I can tell you India's importance of India into gold and silver. India is world's second largest importer of gold, and we formally import through formal channels. We import around 800 tons of gold. Maybe last couple of years due to this and now pandemic, this number may have come down significantly formally, but still 800 ton to 1000 ton, that has historical annual demand for India. I mean, we import that. We don't produce, India doesn't produce any gold. We import entire consumption, that is 800 to 10,000 ton, that is a formal. Another couple of 100 tons, it comes through informal way. So India is a huge gold market after China. Then there is a base metal, copper, zinc, aluminum, and nickel. And there is a tin also, but tin is not traded. So this is traded commodities. So copper, zinc, aluminum, nickel, I don't need to explain much. There are a lot of companies, Hindalco's and Bharat Aluminium and Vedantas of the world, which are producing, importing all these commodities. But zinc and nickel, we are completely dependent on import. So these commodities play a big role in Indian economy because we are either import dependent. We import large quantities, so our a lot of foreign exchange goes for importing these commodities. Then there is the ferrous. What is ferrous? Iron ore and steel. Again, I said ferrous, iron ore and steel is there, but along with that, there is the iron ore also. So iron ore is also a big commodity, and India is one of the largest exporters in iron ore, and Karnataka is also a prominent player into iron ore. You must be knowing that. So in this metal sector, or to some extent we can say minerals, metals and minerals, iron ore, iron and steel, this comes under ferrous. Now these are the hard commodities. So which are produced, these are not you can say largely we import all these commodities. Very few commodities we produce here. But even if we are producing, its raw material, we are dependent for raw materials of these commodities. For example, steel, we have to import some coke, that is a key raw material. We have to import good quality iron ore also sometimes. Then there is a coal also. Within energy, I have not mentioned here, but within hard commodities, there is a coal. India is largely dependent on imported coal for the power generation. As Mr. Prasad sir has said, you are facing power problems. So you know that India import lot of dependent on coal to generate power, and coal is completely, most of the coal is imported from India. We are one of the largest again importers of coal in the world. So coal is also important commodity from that angle in energy. Now these are the commodities in hard commodities classified. Now we are moving to soft commodity. What is soft commodity? Within that we have classified it as food, raw material, and fruits and vegetables, which are perishables largely. So what is this food commodities? Don't need much explanation. Within cereals, it is the wheat, rice, and maize. Within pulses, it's chana, tur, urad, moong, and of course there are peas and a lot of beans are there. So those are minor, like we call chauli, chaula, or rajma, matki. All these are again pulses only, but these are the top 4 pulses produced in India. Again, India is the largest producer of pulses. It is the largest consumer of pulses, and it was largest importer of pulses till couple of years ago. Now, because of import restrictions, we are curbed our imports, but still we are short of our consumption. So we need to manage this. Pulses is a sector where we are still facing some deficit. Whereas cereals, we are surplus producers. We produce wheat and rice in huge quantities, more than what we require. Oil seeds and edible oil. Oil seeds and edible oils, you know, these are the top oil seeds: mustard, soybean, and edible oil is palm oil. Again, it is a commodity. We are not producer, but India is world's largest importer of palm oil again. So it is very important. I can tell you, just to add value into it, palm oil is till last year we were importing around 90 lakh ton of palm oil annually. We used to import from Malaysia and Indonesia. So we were draining out roughly around 80,000 crores on importing this annually. And apart from this, we import soybean and sunflower oil also. So again, India imports 70% of its edible oil requirement from Indonesia, Malaysia, and South American countries. So Indian economy, again, edible oil is a problem area. We are not self-sufficient. We need Atmanirbharta in oil seeds as well as edible oil, which is a long process. It will take almost a decade to achieve self-sufficiency. And the government is currently going on oilseed missions right now. Oilseed and pulses is somewhere are the areas where India needs to be self-sufficient, and there are a lot of things to be done. Then there is a soft commodity, another soft commodity where sugar, coffee, tea, and tobacco. These are also for Karnataka also. These are the very big commodities, and of course for India, it has largely dominated the southern and northern areas. So where large number of population depends for their livelihood on these sectors. Then raw material, we are talking about raw material within the soft commodities, just industrial agro. That is guar seed, guar gum, you must have heard. There is a castor, cotton, cocoa. These are non-food, but they are industrial raw material. Soya meal and rubber. These are the major commodities. These are, we can call it as a plantation also, like coffee. We can classify it in different crops in different purposes. But guar, castor, cotton, cocoa is cotton oilseed cake, Kapasia khali. or if you local language in Marathi it is called pend. Mashila gaila dileli pend. Turkichi pend, which is called kukud. So that is kukud is also very big commodity traded into India. Many states are using this kukud in a big way. So that comes from cotton seed. Cotton seed, oil cake, then soya meal, rubber. For animal feed, again, soya meal is also going into animal feed. Of course, kukud also goes into animal feed. But cattle, animal itself is a commodity. Cattle and lean hog. So lean hog, we are not going into it. We are not considering it as a traded commodity. It is a pig only. But in US, it is traded on a huge quantity. Then we are coming fruits and vegetables, which are perishable commodities like potato, tomato, apple, onion, grapes, whatever you call. You know, onion is also there. So these are the, now you will have an idea. Again, I am telling you, these are the basic commodities. There are derivatives on this. There are commodities coming out of this. There are 100 more commodities out of this, which you can imagine. All these are commodities and all these are traded. All these change hands every second. And there is a lot of money involved into it. There is a lot of trade involved into it. So let's move quickly to the next slide. This is agricultural ecosystem. What is agricultural ecosystem? So this is a physical market. Let me, before going ahead, let me tell you, we are talking about, this is a physical market. What is a physical or spot market? This is the market which we can see around, we can feel around, which we are working around. So this is the physical market. And there is another is a derivatives market. So we are not going there right now. So we are just into physical market right now. So we are understanding how this market works. So you know, most of the agriculture commodities, where it is produced, I don't need much to tell you about this slide. This slide itself is a self-explicit. So self-explanatory. This is a farmer. They are producing most of the agriculture commodities and we are consumers. So at the last, you can see there are a consumer. There is a farmer and consumer, or producer and consumer. So how our physical market is there now? What this slide tells you, it is a journey of any agricultural commodity from farm to plate. So this is a journey explained, farm to plate journey. So how it comes to you, many people still don't know that how whatever they consume, whatever vegetables, fruits or any food grains they consume, where from it comes. So that this is something curiosity which should be amongst you, that can, you know, automatically trigger learning of this commodity market, learning of this flow, learning of the journey of this farm to plate. So let's say there are intermediaries. Basically from farmer to producer, the journey, there are a lot of intermediaries. All are intermediaries. They are into different forms of intermediaries. So we will start from the first set of intermediaries. Who are those? Those are brokers. They are called commission agents. All are again intermediaries. There are various forms of intermediaries. They have different, there is some slight difference. We can, in advanced training, we can understand what is the difference, but largely we can say this: brokers, commission agents, aggregators, warehouse men, government agencies, traders and stockists. All are intermediaries. So I can just explain. Brokers is someone who is connected with broker, maybe at village level. He is amongst the farmers. Farmers himself can be a broker sometime. So whatever produced in farm, it is just going to the nearest mandi, where there are license holder traders. They buy it. So they are through somebody, this deal is brokered. Those are the people who are called brokers. Again, commission agents. It is also part of, they are interested more into commission. They may be connected either to trader, they may be connected to farmers. They will ensure whatever farmers or their master wants, and they will facilitate or broker the deal, and they will get fixed commission. There are aggregators. Aggregators is someone someone who has a little bit more muscles in a maybe village. For example, in Karnataka, Davangere, there is a maize producing area. There may be some big farmers. What they will do, they will go to small farmers and they will collect their material, with themselves. They will aggregate that material and a big lot. They will sell it to some big traders where they can get better price. Their bargaining power will increase. So they are aggregators. Then there is a warehouseman. I don't need to explain. There are small warehouses, big warehouses. So all these warehouses, what they do, they facilitate warehousing for farmers or producers or even traders. Then there is the government agencies. You have heard of NAFED, Marketing Board, Food Corporation of India, the biggest one, who are also again, they do their procurement operations at MSP. The MSP operations go on during the year for 23 major crops. So this is taken care by government agencies through state governments and through central government marketing boards. A lot of agencies are involved in this. Then there are traders and stockists. Again, the same thing. They are traders, so I don't need to explain. What they generally do, they are bulk buyers. Who are the bulk buyers? Now we are going to processors and exporters. So who are the processors and exporters? They are dal millers, they are oil seed millers, there are rice millers, there are flour millers, there are milk processors and exporters. All of them, Karnataka again is a big place. In the Raichur area, you can see a lot of rice mills in the Raichur area because it's a rice belt. You will see a lot of dal mills in Gulbarga. So that way there are oil seed mills also. Oil seed mills are those who extract oil from oil seed by crushing oil seed. So dal mills, rice mills, all and flour mills which make attas and attas only from wheat. So these are the processor exporters. They are actually bulk buyers. We call them bulk buyers because their quantity daily processing is huge. So they buy it from intermediaries. They don't go to farmers. So farmers sell it to intermediaries. They either which form of intermediaries they sell to processors and exporters. Now whatever output is produced by like edible oils or atta or dal mills, that is again sold by these processors and exporters to retailers. Like what are the retailers? Kirana stores, supermarkets, cash and carry. Let's not go into it, cash and carry, but Metro cash and carry. So they are what they buy in bulk and then kind of malls only. They buy on a big quantity and that's why they get a scale of operations benefit at lower cost. They can procure it and they sell it at little cheaper, but again in big quantities, like what JioMart is selling. They are kind of cash and carry also. They give hefty discount to consumer also. They deal in volume but lower margin. So effectively their total profit is protected. And there are e-portals. Now you know that big baskets or there are wholesale portals also. But I am just giving one example, big basket, nature basket. They are again retailers. So they buy from processors and exporters based on their scale of operations. They can bargain and they can further retail it to consumer. That is what we are there. So this is what our physical market farm to plate journey is. So let's quickly move on to next slide. Challenges of physical market. Now this physical market, you can, it's very easy to understand as those pointers tell you. This is fragmented and isolated. What does this exactly means? We don't have a national market as of now. Any commodity you will find, every taluka or every district, you will find its prices, its supply demand parameters change. So for example, if commodity produced in the region of Belgaum, where you are located, that will be very cheap available there. Even for example, fruits and vegetables. If I'm not mistaken, it is produced in large quantities around Belgaum. So vegetables will be very cheap in your market, whereas the same vegetables, when they are coming to Bombay, its prices will go up tremendously. So obviously, there will be a lot of intermediation happening, and again there will be state restrictions. If you want to carry the commodities produced in your area to another state, there will be a lot of restrictions in terms of taxes and all. So obviously, this will create hurdles in national movement of goods. That's why price discovery is not proper. So that is what second we have said: lack of proper price discovery, price dissemination, and transparency. So these again are the problems of our physical market, challenges we can say. There is no proper price discovery. One commodity traded at different prices, and the difference is very big from pocket to pocket in this country. And again, price dissemination is not available. So you will not, out of all the 25 students you are, or 40 people present here, if they go on independently to buy some product, if they source some product, they will find enormous quotes or enormous prices for a single commodity. So there is no single price as of now, and there is no dissemination. You will not find one platform where to go and find out this commodity price. And obviously, the lack of transparency also is the product of this lack of fragmentation or isolation. Again, lack proper quality certification and standardization. You will see any commodity you buy, you will have different grades, different qualities, because there is lack of awareness, lack of there are a lot of demographic, lot of soil related, weather related, and there is cultivation practices. So these are very area specific or pocket specific things. So because of which there is no quality. So obviously quality certification agencies also becomes localized, or there is no standardization and certification easily available. Then there is a long chain of intermediaries. In previous, we have seen just three. In this slide, we have just seen these three layers of intermediation, but in practical, there are much more. Within this also, from this to this, there will be 3-4 people. From this to this, there will be 2-3 agents. From this to this and this to this, there will be many people available. So long chain of intermediaries, because of which the onion is sold at 5 rupees in Nashik, which comes to when it goes into say northeast, it goes to the price goes to 30 rupees. So farmer gets 5 rupees, consumer pays 30 rupees. Where does 25 rupees go? That is intermediation cost. So there are a lot of intermediaries, and eventual function of the commodity market is to bring down this intermediation in such a way that farmers' realization go up and consumer has to pay less. So from 5 and 30, if we go to 10 and 25, there will be a win-win. Farmer's income also will double. Consumer will also pay from 30 rupees, they will pay 25 rupees. And again, there is from 10 to 15 or 20 to 25. This 15 rupees can go into intermediary pockets. So this is a system that is our eventual goal, what we want to achieve. That is the function of the commodity market. So again, this is a physical market. So long chain of intermediaries, what we have seen. Now possible cartelization and intermediaries. So you know what it is. When we know there are certain prices of certain commodities are manipulated artificially through hoarding. Sometimes it onion, sometimes it's whatever commodity it may be local or it can happen in any commodity, but it keeps on happening, and there are cartels available. There are a lot of commodities we have not discussed which are dominated by these cartels because its production is very limited in this country. those are called narrow commodities, largely narrow commodities like mentha oil. I don't know how many of you have heard of mentha oil. Though each one of you consume mentha oil, whatever lozenges you eat, which are, you give soothing, cool feeling, menthol, which is menthol based, or even if you are eating pan after food, they put thandak or anything which cools, the property of cooling, that comes from mentha oil. So mentha oil is a basic commodity traded, which comes again from pudina. Its original raw material is pudina. From pudina, it mentha oil, but that production is limited to the some parts of Uttar Pradesh. So that is again cartelized. So this way, there are a lot of commodities which you consume, but their prices is not within anybody's hand. It is only cartelized. Then there is a distress sale by farmers. I don't need to tell this to anybody because you have learned it everywhere that farmers in this country are, since independence, what is happening that at the time of harvesting, you can take the film like Mother India till recent past Swades. You will see what farmers are going through. That at the time of, they don't have any money because 6 months they cultivate some crops, they spend a lot of money, they spend 6 months, they buy money from saukars or from formal channels also sometimes. And on the one hope that at the time of harvest, we can get a good money, we can repay our loan and have some money for our family. But what happens at the time of harvest, prices go below cost of production. Many times they fall, and these farmers have to do distress sale. And then they are not even able to recover their costs. So whatever they are keeping mortgage to saukar, they have to let go their land or whatever, or ornaments or whatever. So this is the very common feature of Indian agriculture, that is called distress sale by farmers. So these are the challenges of physical market and that we have to take on. So this becomes here the physical market, largely the physical market ends here. And now we are moving to another set of market, which is called derivatives market. So what is the structure? I don't have that PowerPoint, the slide ready right now, but I can explain you largely what is the derivative market. You have heard of commodity exchanges these days, which is called NCDEX or MCX, or for that purpose, Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. These are also commodities exchange now. In fact, there was a classification as commodity exchanges and financial exchanges like stock exchange. So within stock exchange, it was currency was also traded, but commodity exchanges, only commodities were traded. So this classification came to end couple of years ago when the SEBI, or Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is the regulator of this both capital and commodity market, has brought a new concept, unified exchange concept. All exchanges are now called as a stock exchange. And so, there is a cross listing possible, like stock exchanges can venture into commodities, they can launch commodity futures, while commodity exchanges can launch stocks. So at the moment, that is not happening much because everybody has their own domain, everybody has their own niche. So that's why practically it is not happening on a larger scale, but tomorrow eventually it is going to happen. So for that matter, NSE and BSE, they have launched some commodities. Then within commodities, MCX and NCDX, these are the largely two exchanges. MCX is known for non-agriculture commodities like energy, precious metals and base metals. There are few agro commodities trading on MCX as well. And there is the NCDX, which is known for number of agriculture commodities. So what is this? This is called derivatives market. What I was saying, this derivative commodity exchanges. So just the structure of the derivatives market, it comes under the finance ministry. So finance ministry is a top boss of this structure. Within that, under that, there is a Securities and Exchange Board, which is a regulator. So under Finance Ministry, there is a regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India, and under the Securities and Exchange Board of SEBI, there are various exchanges like MCX, NCDX, ICEX, and BSE and NSE. There were a lot of exchanges earlier. Till 6-7 years ago, there were some 8 odd exchanges, 9 odd exchanges. Some of the exchanges have closed down for various reasons. They couldn't do the business and they couldn't get the business, and because of losses or some other reasons, those exchanges were closed down. So currently we have 4 prominent exchanges. BSE, NSE is one, but commodities, again, sector is dominated by MCX and NCDEX. And NCDEX accounts for 80% of the agricultural trading. So these are the derivative market structures. Now, what are the objectives and features of commodity derivatives market? So we have seen the physical market. Now, it is, say, ultimately derivatives market are commodity derivative. What is derivative? It is derived from some market. So derived on something, derivatives are derived from physical markets also. So underlying market or its physical market. Based on what happens in physical market, the derivative market is developed. So again, the main market remains a physical market, or in technical terms, we call it underlying is a physical. So so 2 main objectives of commodity derivative market, main 2 objectives is price discovery and price risk management. So what I will explain in short, what is the price discovery? We have seen earlier that price discovery is, because of fragmentation of market, price discovery is not transparent. There is no price discovery in many cases, we can say. For example, if it is apple or if it is pulses per se, so farmer is producing it, so he is incurring seeds, his fertilizer, his own labor, he gets loans, so it's interest, and he has to do a lot of pesticides and fumigation of pesticides and pest management. So all these expenses leads to some cost. This cost varies from farm to farm, from farmer to farmer, from commodity to commodity. So there is a cost, and later on at the time of selling that commodity, he doesn't get many times cost. So there has to be something respectable price, and that price discovery process also has to be there. This price discovery process is again not there. You must have heard, you must have seen in movies, and you must have read in media that how price discovery under the kerchief, when this farmers go to the mandi with their produce, they go and they negotiate with some dalals, and they do under the kerchief, they do some finger movement based on that the price, which is not known to third person. And in this kind of price discovery we are talking about, we are not having electronic price discovery. That also uniform price discovery from Kerala and Kanyakumari to Jammu Kashmir. There has to be a national market, national price discovery, which is the eventuality, and which government is also trying through ENAM and various platforms or these reforms. But that's not happening. So how we need some platform or one mechanism where this is possible. This is a big country. It's not possible physically that person from Jammu Kashmir or Northeast or from East or West and South to come together and make a marketplace physical. So this is still possible through some mechanism and through some platform. So for that, commodity derivatives market can be an answer, and it is an answer. Globally, people are using it. We are also using it, but its reach is not that great. So this is the basic objective. Again, there is a second main objective, the price risk management. What is the price risk management? That from every sector, every participants in this commodity market, right from farm to plate plate journey, you have seen many various intermediaries and producers and consumers. Everybody has some risk. For example, farmers has a risk that at the time of harvest, he will witness this happens. So you know this is a very common risk that at the time of harvest, the prices come down significantly and farmers can't do anything. So if he has some platform at the time of sowing only, that yes, at the time of sowing prices are good, but that time he cannot sell because he has not produced something, there is no produce. But if there is an instrument that he can sell his production, what is going to come after 6 months or 5 months forward or future, he can sell it at the time of sowing. So this is called a future market in a way. So in October, if he can sell chana to be produced in April, if he can sell it in October at October prices or based on the October demand supply, he will have reasonable prices. So that is possible on futures market or commodity derivatives market. So like that, everybody has, for example, oil seed mill or dal mill. Dal mill, you know, what is their produce? The dal, and they sell it dal to consumers, which is the price sensitive market. They cannot increase like anything the prices of their dal to consumers because then they will lose the demand. So their selling price is fixed, but their dal price, for example, chana or tuar, if those prices are manipulated by somebody and suddenly goes up significantly, then that is their raw material. If they have to purchase raw material at very high price and sell the dal, their finished product at low price, they will run losses and they will go bankrupt. So they also have a risk. So what is their risk? Is higher raw material prices and low output prices. So both these prices, if they get some platform where they can hedge their price risk. So hedging is what? Again, they can lock in their raw material prices, they can lock in their finished good prices based on their costing. That opportunity, if they get, then their business is safe from any risk. Wherever price goes, their prices are locked, whether it is input or output side. So this is for dal mills. Like that, there are wholesale consumers. We are not talking about you and me who purchase half and 1 kg. We have no risk in a way. But there are retailers from where we buy. For them, there is a risk. They cannot suddenly tell you that onion is from 10 rupees, it is 70 rupees. But it still happens. But they have to manage that. They have to purchase onion for their 15 days stock. So they are also running the risk of increase in their raw material prices, which they cannot pass on to final consumers. So they also need a platform. So this platform is what? Nothing but a commodity derivatives market, which we are talking about. Now commodity derivatives market, we will take what happens on this or what are the features. It is a centralized marketplace. For example, we are taking example of NCDEX also. So centralized marketplace, NCDEX is only one platform. From any corner of this country, people can, buyers and seller can log in their orders electronically, and their buyer is not known to seller, seller is not known to buyer, but NCDEX takes quotes from buyers, NCDEX takes quotes from sellers through electronically, no manual intervention. The quotes are matched buyer seller and trade happens. The trades are what is traded is they are predefined contracts. For example, chana. There is a here like spot market or physical market. The quantities are subject to requirements of the buyers and sellers. Quality, quantity, and transportation. Lot of things are subjective to buyers and seller requirement. Here it is a standardized product, standardized contract. Chana is the X quality chana will trade on this exchange, where it will have 10 ton of quantitative lot. It will have price which will be quoted in quintals. It will be available physical delivery at through 3 or 4 major delivery centers. This chana cannot be delivered at any place where buyer or seller want to. So there is a standardized or predefined contract. This contract specification you can find on NCDEX website in products. Then there is a higher liquidity. What does this mean? That there is a national interest. So buyers and sellers come together on national level. Instead of a mandi, the only local buyers and local seller will come. So participation will be limited. Here, from across the country, buyers and sellers come at one place. So there is a liquidity. What is liquidity? Is a volume or more buyers and more people, where competitive bidding starts. And when there is a competition, it is a good market for both buyers and sellers. Then price dissemination. You know that it is an electronic platform and it is available to everybody on their mobile or on their computers. So it is a nationwide price dissemination happening 24/7 live. So you can take an informed decision. You have idea what is happening now. Then there is a clearing corporation and guarantees settlement. So what does this mean? That all these trades happening here are ensured that they are settled and cleared through a separate independent company. So which guarantees the settlement. What I mean to say that in spot market, physical market, in a mandi, buyer and seller agrees to do something after 15 days. What happens suddenly? For example, X sells sugar to Y, for which delivery will happen in today's price, but its delivery will happen after 15 days and payment also will be taken care after 15 days. What happens? Prices of sugar rise suddenly in 2-3 days, and then the seller says, "Arey, prices have already increased. Why I should pay at that old price to this?" So he just defaults. He says, "Abhi nahi dunga main. I will not give." So what happens? There is a default. And then buyer and seller, there is no counterparty. They have no alternative than to go court, and you know how Indian courts work. So there is a default, the deal doesn't happen. So this kind of settlement, there is no guarantee of settlement in this physical buyer and seller kind of one-to-one contract. Here, this is the exchange traded commodity. They have separate clearing mechanism through their separate subsidiary NCCL, which is a clearing corporation. So the settlement is guaranteed by regulator also, and it is regulated by SEBI. This market is regulated by SEBI, very important. So there is no possibility that something untoward will happen, or if somebody tries to manipulate, something happens, SEBI will come along with exchanges are also there. So it will be plugged immediately. So basically, objective of features of commodity derivative market is risk management. So you understood, profit and loss depends on how you manage your risk. So now this is the basic of commodity market. We have understood about the physical and futures market. Now I will give you what are the trade commodities that are currently traded on NCDEX or in agriculture commodities which are traded. So we have done it complex wise. What is complex is oilseed, classified into oilseeds. You know, soybean, RM seed is mustard. There is a castor and sesame seed. These are the oilseeds. You see refined soya oil and CPO. It is crude palm oil which we import, as I said. So crude palm oil also is traded. Then grains and pulses. You know that wheat, barley, bajra, maize, chana, moong, paddy, and basmati rice. These are traded in futures. There are spices also, coriander, jeera, and turmeric. Pepper is also traded, of course. Within fibers, it is we call it as a fiber crop, which is cotton and kapas. It is same only to some extent. Kapas is a raw cotton which has a seed also, while cotton is a ginned cotton. After removing seed, it is pressed and converted into bales. So it is a cotton, and this is kapas. Both are cotton. Then there is a cotton cake, as I said earlier, kapasia khali, cotton seed oil cake, or kokud, or pend. Then there is the guar seed and guar gum. This is also what you know, the vegetable we eat, we call it gawar or guar. So it is the same thing, but its seeds are traded. and it's that is produced Rajasthan and Gujarat. Rajasthan is largest producer or India's largest producing state of guar gum. It's a wonder commodity, or it is also called wonder bean. It has a multiple uses. Your dahi also, ready dahi, right? That dahi, it is used. Guar gum is used into it as a thickening agent. Lot of food products in ice creams and dahi or yogurts where thickening agent. Guar gum is used in thickening agent, but industrial application is much bigger for guar gum now in oil and gas industry. There are options. These are the futures. There are options also now launched, which is another derivative product, futures and options and indices. So options is again this futures contract only guar seed, guar gum, chana, mustard, maize and wheat, on which options contracts are also launched. And there is indices, index futures. You must be knowing NSE's Nifty and BSE's Sensex, which are and Bank Nifty. These are the top traded indexes. So indices means indexes. So what this everybody knows because it is into share market. Similarly, in commodities also, there is a Agridex which is launched by NCDEX in May, which is a Agridex is again index traded on NCDX, index future, Agridex future, and there are Bulldex and Metaldex which are launched on MCX. They track prices of bullion, they track prices of base metals. This Agridex tracks prices of 10 top traded commodities on NCDEX, which we have seen in this futures contracts. If you cannot understand one single commodity, you can trade in Agridex, or you can, which tracks the movement again, or the movement of Agridex also is based on these commodities, this top 10 commodities. So this is the index. So these are the exchange traded agriculture products. Now we will move on quickly. What commodity derivatives futures market? See, you can see this is the trading screen of NCDX, which brokers offers, or this is the trading screen. What it shows the commodity and expiry date. These are the contracts, individual contracts. What we have discussed. These are exhibited in this way. There is there are a lot of columns. It can be customized as per your requirement. If you want to trade, you yourself can trade on this if you open account with broker. Or this is traded. It shows commodity and its expiry date. So, for example, chana, there will be 5 contracts available for November, December, January, February, and March. You can trade in any commodity, any contract. Then there is a previous close. What was the yesterday's close? There is buy and sell price quotes. So currently, this shows that buyer is ready for this, seller is ready to sell at this. The deal will happen somewhere between these two prices or at one of those prices. And the dealt price is the last traded price, LTP. This is the at which the price happens, and this happens every second, nanosecond. These deals keeps on happening on the national basis. Then open interest. Let's not go much into it. Open interest is something when you buy one contract on exchange till you sell that contract, till you hold that contract, your position is open. So in a way, it is the open interest. Then it shows the historical columns here, which is high and low of that commodities for the day, or you can find out what is the 52-week high, 52-week low. So basically, this is the trade data. This is a trading screen. How the actual trading happens here on national basis on the screen. And across the country, the buyers and sellers keeps on feeding orders. It is same like a share market. So share market screen, people know. This is you can watch if you don't have that screen, because you will get that screen only. This screen you will get when you have a trading account with some broker. But this is the screen which is available to everybody, where it is not a tradable screen. It is a view only screen which is available on NCDEX website. You can see this. So on website NCDEX, when you open this website, you have to go to market data, where you will get this market data live future quotes. If you want to know what are the products, again, you can go here, products, and you can find out what are the various contracts that are traded on exchange. So we'll move ahead. This is how to trade in futures. If you are a broker, or you are a trader, or whoever wants to trade on the exchange, whoever wants to hedge on the exchange, whoever wants to do arbitrage, ultimately who want to make use of exchange for whatever purpose they have to go to, like equity market, you have to go to a broker, which is called member in the commodity or trading language. So we have said open an account with a member of the exchange. Member is nothing but a trader only, a broker only. So you know IIFL or India Infoline, you know SMC, you know Karvi. Karvi, of course, is the ceased to be a member now after SEBI has removed their license, but that was a popular name, that's why I said. You know, in Karnataka, Geojit is a big name. So these are the brokers. So you have to go and open account with them, get necessary KYC done, then only account will be open. You have to deposit the margin. What is margin? When you have to trade in futures, you don't have to pay full amount of the contract value. You have to pay only limited amount, which is called a margin, which is normally 10-12% depending on commodity to commodity. How volatile that commodity, more the volatility in that commodity, margin will be higher. Lower the volatility, margin will be lower. So, but normally 10% is the margin. That is what upfront payment you have to make as soon as you buy or sell your futures contract on commodities. Then you can start trading, buy and sell. When you buy or sell some commodity futures on the exchange, what happens? The prices are live every second. So it goes up, down, up, down. At the end of the day, you are entering at, say, at X price. At the end of the day, the price will be either X minus 10 rupees or X plus 5 rupees. So this plus or minus is whatever difference is there. That is called mark to market. Means that is the daily difference from your purchase price. Whatever variation on daily basis happens on your purchase price, if it is increased, if you have bought something, if you are a buyer on exchange, and if prices goes up, at the end of the day, that is your profit, and which will be credited to your account on the next day morning or same day night, daily basis. So that next day, from the second day's closing price, whatever difference comes, it may be less also. So that is your loss. So that loss you have to make on the second day night or third day morning. You have to give that money to your broker because you have lost for that particular day. Your position remains open. You are buyer on the exchange till your target is achieved. But this daily prices change that you have to make up. You can either get it or you can either pay it to broker. That is called M2M settlement. And as soon as you square off the trade, when your target is achieved or you feel, no, I must exit market now. So either you have to square off or you have rollover, means the contract expires, but you still want to be in the contract. What you can do, you can exit from that month contract and you can enter into the next month contract again. So first you have to square off, then enter in the new contract, that is called rollover. Or if you are a seller, you can delivery. If you are a buyer, you can get delivery from exchange. Whatever happens, the contract is settled at that moment. And whatever plus or minus is credited to you along with your margin. Margin money remains constant till the end of the trade. And it is credited in that deal settlement. Whether it is a delivery, it is a rollover or square off. Then there is these are the sectors which are connected to this whole ecosystem or industries which require a skilled manpower. Again, it is a function of futures market. because of future market and this ecosystem, this is possible. The commodity ecosystem employment, this is from career point of view, where, you know, I was saying there are enormous opportunities. This is just a theoretical. Beyond this, I tell you, I guarantee you, beyond this slide, there are many opportunities. There are no specific names to it, but at every stage, people need skilled manpower in commodity, who knows commodity. 10 years ago, there was a situation, if a person knows C of commodity, people were jumping on to hire him. That is the paucity of, or that is the shortage of skill set into commodity sector. Equity, you will find many, but in commodity, there are hardly people. So you can make out how important it is for you to go for advanced training and advanced understanding and choose commodity as a career. There are enormous opportunities, whatever you do. So where agri trading houses, you know, agri trading houses, you have heard of Glencore, you have heard of Louis Dreyfus, you have heard of Edelweiss, or there are Adani's. So all these are big trading houses. They deal in billions of dollars in commodities, whether it is the coal or whether it is the moong and butter and matki, to coal or crude oil or whatever. Take a name of the commodity, they are present. So they need people in this whole complex commodity structure who knows at least part of this trading or part of the commodity, who understand the commodity. You have a jobs there. So like that warehousing industries, again, everybody, warehousing, you know, warehousing is the backbone of commodity market. Because commodity market is connected to physical, and lot of physical market infrastructure is changing now. You have heard of e-negotiable warehouse receipt system. It's another revolution that is happening. It cannot be included in this basic. It is a whole new chapter. ENWR, electronic negotiable warehouse receipt. Very important topic. On alone, this topic alone, there can be a separate session. So this ENWR ecosystem is developing. It's a big infrastructural enabling happening in the country. It's a it will revolutionize the commodity market ecosystem, and for that warehousing will play important role. Then there will be a food and feed processing industry like animal feed or food processing industry. I don't need to explain what this is. Then there are financial institutions, you know, this banks and financial institutions, non-banking financial institutions who lend again agriculture. They are thousands of crores of rupees annually lent against agricultural produce as a collateral. So they also don't understand commodity management, because commodities are perishable. If the people whom they have advanced money, if they cannot manage the commodity quality and tomorrow they default, these banks will lose thousands of crores, and they are losing. So for banks also, or financial institutions, NBFCs, it is important to have skilled people. Then there are broking houses. Don't need to do all these brokers who have advisories, research organizations, who need people who understand commodity to time for right time, right trade, and right price. FPOs and agricultural cooperatives, and so you know, farmer producer organizations is happening a big way in this country. Currently, we have 3,500. By 2025, we are planning to have at least 10,000 to 20,000 farmer producer organizations through which the agriculture growth will come up. So they will also require. We have thousands of agricultural cooperative societies in rural areas which are also starving of people who understand commodity market. There is a ecosystem from regulator like SEBI, exchanges, clearing corporations, and depositories. So all these people again need people who understand commodities, who knows commodities, nitty-gritties of commodities. So you can understand this is where people are required, and the requirements are increasing rapidly while the demand is going up significantly. Supply is stagnated or growing at a snail's pace. So you can make out what is the disconnect in this. So this is what the commodity market introduction is. Hope you have understood it. And now we are moving to, we are almost more than 1 hour. So we'll move on quickly to the question and answer sessions. I haven't actually gone to the chat and all. So can Mr. Prasad, can you read out the hope? Can you read out the questions
Yes, sir.
if it is already there?
So on the chart, yeah, on the chart window, there are no questions, but I have requested students to unmute themselves and ask the questions, sir.
Yeah, sure. So it's the platform is
So,
open for questions now.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So students, we request you all. So if you have got any query to the session, to the sir, you can type it on the chat window, or you can make use of your microphone to ask the questions. Or you can raise your hand also, and you can point out your questions with the available options. Shrikant sir,
Yes.
thank you for this wonderful session, and we are having this details what you have given, sir. So this commodity exchange and the role of NCDX, it is totally a new concept to all of us, because as I mentioned earlier, we have got only the theoretical and only overview to it, but you have given a glimpse of what the commodity markets and commodity exchanges are, and what is the role they are going to play in days to come. And even you did mention about the career opportunities which are for the students, because the last part of your presentation did discuss the new opportunities what the students are going to have. And
Yes.
again, as we witness, this is the sector which witnessed consistent growth even during this pandemic time. And hopefully, as you have given great insights on the career, and the students would obviously get it across as they go along, sir.
Yes.
So meantime, I have got questions.
Yes.
So as you mentioned, like say this NCDX has got an index called as AgriDex.
Yes.
And it is a composition of 10 highly traded commodities, sir.
Correct.
So is there any possibility, because this BSC Sensex and NSE Nifty, they have got top 30 and top 50
Yeah.
securities which
Continue.
make up the index. So likewise, does the AgriDex also
Can
changes
you
the
just repeat the
composition?
part of, sir? Can you repeat the part of the? Can you repeat the part
Yes,
of the
sir.
half part of latter part of the question? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So as we said, we have got this AgriDex as an index, sir.
Yes. Correct.
So it is consists of 10 highly traded commodities, sir.
Top traded. Right.
Yes, sir. So the index is static or is it dynamic? I mean, the 10 commodities which are there, they'll be traded throughout the year, or will there be a change in the composition, sir?
Yeah. It there throughout the day. All these 10 top traded commodities, as I said, which has a very good volume and they are continuously traded. And it has a direct correlation. Obviously, the index is based on this, and with a very small tracking error, this index is following perfectly all this commodity, whatever movement in these commodities. So, if you want the details of this top 10 traded commodities, it is available. If you just go on website, it comes a whole process how this index works, and balancing and all, and its weightage is given on that.
Yes, sir. So it is dynamic kind of index like this BSC Sensex and Nifty of NSE, sir.
Yes, correct.
Yes, sir. So one more question, sir.
Yeah.
So as you said, let's say we have got this agricultural options. So how this agricultural option pricing is worked out, sir?
Again, pricing is a bit, it cannot be easily explained. But again, the logic, if you know equity options, which has a time element also and all. So, relatively, volume in options is lesser. So obviously, to that extent, the liquidity-based adjustment in premium do happen. But again, as I said, there's options in goods. Within options, there are two segments. I have not gone into that because it cannot be explained in a very short period. But I can just give you overview that within options, there are two segments: option on futures and option in goods. The option in goods is very
Yes, sir.
recently launched, and which is easier for
Yes,
it is
sir.
more farmer centric, and that is easily understandable to everybody. Option in
Yes,
futures
sir.
was a bit difficult to understand, and it's one feature that at the before expiry it devolves into futures 3 days or 2 days before expiry. I don't know exact how many sessions before expiry, but as it moves towards expiry, it devolves into futures, and then the rules of futures starts working on it. Then again, you have to bring more margins as what is required in futures. So that's why there was a little bit hesitance in going into that contract. So now option in goods is a completely different product, though it is an option contract, and
Yes,
it's a
sir.
very low capital requirement, and it's currently lot of publicity or lot of advertisement and lot of you can read option in goods and NCDX. You will find lot of in articles in various languages, including in Marathi also, and with my
Yes.
name only. Lot of
Yes,
papers
sir.
it is there. So you will understand what that option in goods on from these articles alone. I don't need to explain.
Yes, yes, sir.
Any other question?
Yes, sir. So these are the questions from my end. I think students have no specific questions, I suppose,
Yes.
and they have well taken
I
the
would like to tell students that if you are feeling offended, is there any, because this is a somewhat somewhat technical. So asking question, what we have noticed that they feel odd to ask because they think this question may sound foolish, but it is nothing like that. This is the education. This sector is also like that. It's quite technical and different. So there is nobody is going to laugh. So if you want to ask question, please ask. There is no problem, whatever question it is. We are ready to, and if you can't answer now, you can email it to us. We can definitely try to address your queries later also. And I would request all that we will be through Prasad sir, we will send you our feedback form. Please do fill it. Everybody, all of you should please do it and send
Sure,
it back
sir.
to us. I will send you Prasad sir separately.
Sure, sir. Sure. We'll do the needful, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can we close it? I thank you on behalf of NICR and NCDX. I thank you all the students and you also for arranging this session. It was a wonderful session. Hope you all have enjoyed and you have got something out of it. So I declare this is the end of session from my side. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
once again.
Yes. So we also express our gratitude to you specifically, Srikanth sir, for engaging the session and enlightening us with this role of commodity exchanges as well as more specifically NCDX. And even you have given the great insights on the new career opportunities, sir.
Yes, that I can
So that would
again that I would like to tell you again. I can guarantee you, if you go into this field, there are enormous. I would, on a different note, I would like to give some confession that I have no agricultural background. I am also coming from Konkan, I have no agricultural background, but I have made career in this in last 15 years. I came into this also very late of part of my life, but in 15 years I have built my career into this. It was a complete turnaround. It was a complete different turn that my life took because of my commodity knowledge and passion. So what you need is little bit passion, then everything will go in your way. So do give a very positive thought for this section. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the guidance and enlightenment, sir. So finally, on behalf of Bhartesh Global Business School, we thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and making the webinar successfully. And further, we also thank all the participating students from MBA program, BBA, BCA, BCom, and MCom. And we also thank Sandeep sir, Deshpande ma'am, Prashant sir, Mahesh sir, and all other staff members of Global Business School for making it to the session and attending it actively. So at the outset, I finally thank and express our gratitude to the NCDX, and even I thank Ram Yadav sir, who was instrumental in organizing this session. Though because of sir's commitment, he said he is not available, but obviously Srikant sir has made a wonderful delivery of webinar, and we got to know the basics as well as the advancements of commodity exchanges. So we do hope to associate you for the future endeavors. And obviously, as we discussed, there are certain certification programs from NICR, and we try to have some certification from our students so that they can get better career opportunities in days to come, sir. So thank you, sir, and thank you all for joining this session and making it a grand success.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, and
so
all
much,
the
sir.
best to all and the institute.
Thank you so much, sir. Good day, sir.